10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you on this Friday. We haven't been here for the last 2 days, Wednesday or Thursday. Sorry about that. My apologies. And we're not on the radio today either, so that'll be 3 days in a row on the radio. Or Monday we weren't on the radio. Tuesday we were. And then Wednesday, Thursday we weren't because I didn't have a show. And then today, the most bizarre thing as I went to put the show on, it just, I couldn't even, every time I just clicked to play and it wanted to download a file. I clicked to play on the software and the computer was acting like it wants to download something. So the file comes up and said, where do you want to save this file? Every time I just tried to press play to get on the radio. So if you normally listen on the radio, and you're looking for the show and you find this today, that's what happened. And we'll have to work on whatever issue that was on the radio because it's not the first time that that's happened. It's a weird glitch. I'll have to talk to Rob about, see if he's ever encountered anything like it. But it is what it is. Lots of news to talk about today, as usual. There's too much. I could probably sit here for the next 48 hours and just talk about all the things there is to talk about in the news, local and abroad. But anyways, this is Sudbury News Talk. It's where we get a chance to talk about local news and issues and the things that face us on a daily basis. And we have yourselves chiming in because it's your show. I'm just a facilitator of discussing the news. It's a conversation. It's where we share our views on the news. And I don't know if there's any show in particular quite like it from what I've been able to see. It just kind of happened. We started off as sports talk in the early days, and now it's news talk. And it's a community where we like to learn about the world in which we live collectively as a group, because sometimes it feels like we are islands. We're kind of alone out there. If you pay attention to mainstream media, you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially if you know a thing or two about a thing or two. Pretty crazy stuff. Anyways, maybe there's a reason why we're not on the radio today. I have no idea. Whatever. It is what it is. We're just going to roll with the punches and do the best we can with what we got. We are on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube Live at youtube.com/Sudbury News Live. And then afterwards, our show can be found on demand at on demand on those two platforms, along with twitter.com/Sudbury News, now X, and then Sudbury.News is our news aggregator. We hopefully will be able to have a good show today with all the stuff we got to talk about. Let's dive right in. Weather is all the rage these days, right? Crazy weather. I picked the worst time to go down to an appointment near Toronto for a dental specialist appointment. Anyways, roads were terrible. We'll talk more about that later because it has to do with some of the news headlines today. But first, we'll dive in with some of the current weather and what we can expect in the next couple of days. We'll be back right after this. And weather as usual brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently it's minus 13. Feels like minus 18. Yesterday it was minus 6 out there, but with the wind last night it felt like minus 45. So I could just imagine what it feels like now. So I know there's a winter freezing warning put out there for all of our people in our community experiencing homelessness. And my heart goes out to you today. And it's not easy just getting to and from places, let alone having to be out there all the time. So today it'll be mostly cloudy, periods of light snow beginning this morning. And the high will be about minus 8. Wind chill will feel like minus 19 this morning. And today, this afternoon, it'll feel like minus 11. Tonight, mainly cloudy with a 30% chance of flurries. And the low will be minus 16, but with the wind chill, it'll feel like minus 20 overnight. Saturday, becoming cloudy in the morning, snow beginning in the afternoon, 2 centimeters to 4 centimeters. Minus 8 is your high, but with the wind chill, it'll feel like minus 20 in the morning, minus 13 in the afternoon. That's tomorrow. So cold and snowy. Snow tomorrow, minus 8. Then Sunday, chance of flurries, 40% with a high of minus 1. And then periods of rain or snow on Monday with a high of 3. Same thing for Tuesday, 40% chance of showers or flurries. High of plus 3. So Monday and Tuesday, it's going to get mild for a bit. But cloudy still. These clouds are here for a while. It just seems like they're swirling around like a big giant hurricane over central east, right around the Great Lakes, North America. It's you would think it was almost planned that way. You would think it was almost, weather manipulation. But we know that doesn't exist. So 3 degrees, chances of rain or flurries. And then dips down to minus 7. So right about what it is yesterday and today. On Wednesday, with a 30% chance of flurries. Minus 10 on Thursday, 30% chance of flurries. So again, look at your satellite here. Just that big swirling hunk of clouds over from James Bay all the way down to probably, Indiana, all the way over Quebec, Manitoba, a big swirling giant mass of clouds. When I was in Barrie yesterday morning, I could see, or 2 nights ago, the wind was fierce coming from the east, and the flags were just a roaring. Wake up the next morning, just as fierce, just as roaring, but blatantly from the opposite direction, from the west. So just bizarre weather we've been having, and you probably have your weather story as well, but it's the weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, we got a few people joining us this morning. More than usual on a Friday. So for some reason, Fridays start off a little bit light on the amount of people joining us. I don't know why Fridays are different. Bananas here. Good morning. Blessings, everyone. Heart emoji. Grand rising from Marianne. Everyone from Barrie, where I just came back from, liked and shared as usual. And Judy, good morning to you. Pat, good morning. All, smiley emoji. Thank you, Marianne. Much appreciated. No apology needed. And Belinda, good morning. What you heal in yourself, you heal in your family line. Heart, heart, heart. Now, isn't that a deep thought and something that we've put a lot of time and energy into thinking about and doing in our family? Homeopathy is a thing that we've been kind of practicing for some years, and there's a deeper form of homeopathy called Heilkunst, and that's part of that. You need to go back in your lifeline and heal all your traumas. Basically, you start from your most recent and you go back and you heal all your traumas. And even your birth is a trauma, right? Coming into this world is very traumatic. And so you write all the things you know and you remember as much as possible on your timeline of traumas in your life. And basically you go through a healing process and heal it. And our cells carry the traumas of our ancestors as well, right? So we don't want to continue that onward and onward for our next generation. We want to stop it now, all the traumas, and try to nip it in the bud kind of thing. But yeah, so deep thought of the day. Thank you very much, Belinda, for that. Denise, blessings, everyone. Hope you're feeling better after the dentist. I am. We had a great experience there. My dentist is very inspired and one of a kind. She's basically like a homeopathic dentist, if you will, a natural dentist. How about that? Gemini AI is a mess. Well, yeah, I've been using it for different purposes, and I thought it was better than Chat GPT for a bit. And then it was disappointing the last couple times I was using it for whatever reasons. So yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that, Denise. And David, good morning. Take care. Stay safe. And Vin, morning to you. And Belinda, completely genuine. We are blessed to all be here. Have a great conversation. You are absolutely correct. Wouldn't have it any other way in the morning. Disabled Kane chiming in here. I am the greatest me of all time. And yes, you are. And it's always good to be the greatest you. And Monique, Grand Rising with a heart emoji, exclamation points. And Jerome, good morning all. Thanks for being on. Gotta love global warming, eh? For sure with the, well, it's not global warming anymore. It's just climate change. So that one will be around for as long as they can keep her going. Climate change. It's always changing. And there's nothing wrong with that statement because it's true. Now, what's causing it? Now we end up in some debates. Lise, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And Belinda, I hear the French government of France is collapsing. Yeah. But Macron says, just like Justin Trudeau, it doesn't matter. He's going to stay in for the long haul, no matter what people say or think. Right? Doesn't matter. He's going to stick it out. They're very dedicated to their causes, those two. Marianne, yes, it is. Okay. Espanola Radio collects money and things for the homeless. But where's the shelters? She says she donates to. There are no shelters in Espanola. Oh, interesting. You always got to watch where you donate your money to and make sure the cause is legit and the money goes to it. Marianne, wow, where is the money going? We do not know. You always have to do research on the causes that you donate to, 100%. Hit the like button for sure. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, and comment. And that you did. And thank you so much, Betty. Thanks for being on. Hello from Niagara, Canada. Great area of the world where the soil is rich, the people are fantastic, and the falls are huge. And good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. Thanks for always checking in, just like we talked about earlier. And Belinda, Marianne. Oh, yeah. Prime Minister forced out Michel Barnier. So crazy what is happening there in France, I believe we're speaking about. And good morning to you, David. Look at those pearly white teeth. Oh, they're not pearly and they're not white, but they are solid and they're fixed, which is what we definitely needed to get to. And good morning, Nancy. One can only be great when you meet others with respect, and there is a lack of that today, for sure. Respect everyone. And sorry I had to take off so early last night. I know you were at the studio. And Yeah, if I hadn't left already, I would have paid another visit. I know Calvin wanted to go into the studio. We went there earlier. We dropped off Billy a package from Amazon, and then we all had to go for supper, and then I had to hightail it to work to make sure I got here before any weather events were to happen. Trevor, Biden is going to pardon Fauci. Yes, future pardons for all, because we know what's coming, right? We know what's coming. A friend of mine from work shared this with me on Instagram, whatever messages. But this is Joe Rogan talking about what happened, and I can't rewind it, and I can't. Oh, there you go. Here we go. Are we going to be able to actually play this darn thing? Well, it's going to play all the way through, and then we'll be able to play it again. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try this a different way again and see if I can play it. These they don't just make something you can't just play anything these days. You got to go through
Key findings. COVID-19 likely originated from a lab-related incident in Wuhan, China. Crazy. You get banned from YouTube for saying that. Banned. Okay, over $200 billion in relief funds lost to fraud, with criminals exploiting weak oversight. Prolonged lockdowns and arbitrary mandates cause severe harm, economic devastation, mental health crises, and historic learning loss, while lacking robust scientific support. Policies ignored natural immunity, pushing mandates that eroded trust and harmed public perception of science. Absolutely. WHO and CDC compromised by political interference, offering inconsistent, unscientific guidance that fueled public distrust, and the key players included federal agencies, and Cuomo's administration actively obstructed oversight efforts and hid critical evidence.
Christ.
Select subcommittee on coronavirus pandemic basically said all the conspiracy theorists were correct. Every single one of them. No repercussions, no retractions, no apology from Rachel Maddow. None of it. The House released a 500-page report on COVID-19 pandemic. Key findings. COVID-19 likely originated from a lab-related incident in Wuhan, China. Crazy. You get banned from YouTube for saying that. Banned. Okay, over $200 billion in relief funds lost to fraud, with criminals exploiting weak oversight. Prolonged lockdowns and arbitrary mandates cause severe harm, economic devastation, mental health crises, and historic learning loss, while lacking robust scientific support. Policies ignored natural immunity, pushing mandates that eroded trust and harmed public perception of science. Absolutely. WHO and CDC compromised by political interference, offering inconsistent, unscientific guidance that fueled public distrust, and the key players included federal agencies, and Cuomo's administration actively obstructed oversight efforts and hid critical evidence.
Christ.
Select subcommittee on coronavirus pandemic basically said all the conspiracy theorists were correct. Every single one of them. No repercussions, no retractions, no apology from Rachel Maddow. None of it.
So there you go. And yeah, we're freezing up for some strange reason. We're not sure why we're freezing. We're not sure the reason for the freezing. But the show will be found on demand anyways, so the show must go on. Maybe the people on social media knew the clip I was just going to play. I don't know. I don't know if that's known or not. They could see it on my screen while I'm about to play it. I don't know if they care about this show. I don't know why we're freezing. I don't know what. We have normal internet. We have normal devices that we use on a daily basis. And we're just freezing up. So couldn't get on the radio today for a technical glitch. Don't know what causes these things. I've never seen one like happen today. I've seen similar ones, but sorry about that. And good morning, Larry. Apologize that we're freezing all over the place, but the show will be found on demand for those who want to come back and have a look at it. Apologize. I know I wouldn't want to see the show twice. And Andrea, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And Mike, good morning, friends. Friday, friends. Great Friday morning, friends. Mike Perront, thanks for being on. And again, we're freezing up all over the place. Not sure what's happening. I can't tell you really one way or the other. Maybe we'll do a reboot of the internet here for Monday. I don't know if that will do anything, but pretty crazy. Playing with our feed. Yeah, who knows? Freezing. Everybody's noticing that. Apologize for that. Weather is not helping your life, my friend. Keeps breaking in and out. Yes, I know. It's not good at all. Yeah, crappy Wi-Fi services for sure. And who knows what the reason is. And we're just trying to move on with things. We'll just continue and it'll work itself out, or it won't. If it doesn't, that's bizarre because you do the show every day. You don't change anything and it should just work, right? What's going on in France should be doing this here in Canada as well. We should go up there and get him out. Speaking of Justin Trudeau, Larry, I'm pretty sure. Absolutely. Marianne agrees. Yeah, the buffering is out of control, 100% for sure. Weird once you come into comments, it buffers. Yeah, not sure what's going on. Anyways, Andrea says it's like you've got to lose wire that's disconnecting intermittently. Your broadcast is slow and it's choppy. Yep. Not much I can do about it. Everything's plugged in exactly the way it always has been and always will be. Had no problem with other streams this morning. Yep, exactly. This morning we're playing the game of come in and out of comments. Yeah, for sure. Crazy stuff. All right, let's dive into some local stuff. Maybe it'll come back because local stuff might not be as threatening to whoever, whatever. Who knows what's causing the buffering, but watch this. Popular Christmas lights display is being lit up the final time this year in Sudbury. This is a headline from here, and I know we appreciate these people that have put up this great Durkak Festival of Lights. It included 50,000 lights and will end after 20 years and more than 10,000 donations for the Greater Sudbury Food Bank. Well, they got some real diehards here just sticking around on Facebook, so thanks for doing that, guys. I'm not sure if YouTube is chopping up like Facebook is, but maybe if you're on YouTube, let us know if the signal's clear, and if so, it's just a Facebook thing. GOVA Transit winter routes are scheduled beginning December the 14th, the same day that the federal government's holiday on very little amounts of products for GST come out, right? A limited amount of products have no GST from December 14th to February 15th. Manitoulin area school buses canceled today, so everybody in the Manitoulin Island area, school buses are canceled this morning. Okay. Now I got a video this morning shared with me, and it was on our Sudbury News, so I now have to switch accounts again, but it was about a homeless man being evicted from his tent, and basically all of his things were taken by the police. And it was hard to watch, basically, and it was Chris, I believe, that shared that with me. And I was able to get it on my phone, but apparently when you can do something on your phone, it doesn't work exactly the same on a laptop, or maybe it did. So let's see. Yes, okay. So he shared this here, but now I don't have the. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Homeless outreach page. It's called Sudbury FC Homeless Outreach. And they have a gentleman here that has had his encampment raided by police and
Fire
moved.
department came.
And here he is here.
December the 3rd, because I had a fire place going in my canopy.
CSA approved.
AS approved and everything else, 4 tents. I even showed them the papers on it that it was for a tent. I was in the middle of making a hole in the canopy for the chimney and everything else. I even made it where once when I'm not having a fire, I take the chimney away and I close the hole down. They ended up leaving yesterday, just saying that I couldn't have the fireplace in the tent. And I said, look, it's approved 4 tents. It's made 4 tents. They came back today, and they're in the middle of, right now, it's still in my generator, so I can't charge my battery. They're still in my fireplace. I guess they're still in my e-bikes. They're still in my canopy. I asked them to give it to me in writing, why they're doing it and everything else. They refused to put it in writing. 8 police officers came today, which is December the 4th, right after lunch. Put me in handcuffs, more or less said I was being arrested, and they were supposed to be still taking everything. Then they decided just to take the canopy and my generator and my e-bikes, anything that I can charge batteries with and stuff like that, so I can't survive.
Do you have a difficulty walking?
Yes, I do. I actually have a hip and a pelvis that was fractured 8 years ago.
So you use this to get around. So they
Yes.
got the, in a way, this is kind of discrimination against you.
Yes, well, this is it. They've been preventing. Like yesterday, I had a flat. It took me 4 days to fix it. I fixed my flat. I go through the courthouse. I come out. I get another flat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? To make it where I can't get around. They're making it where I can't use the e-bike. I can't charge it. I can't use it. You know what I mean? They're preventing me from doing anything and everything.
What's
So here, this gentleman, he had his encampment, but you could see it from the road, and the police went there to take away his tent, basically, and they had somebody there who was acting as an advocate for this gentleman, talking with police and at least holding them back for a little while, but his argument was basically based on human rights, right? And we know that there's now the Ford government and the municipalities are basically talking about the notwithstanding clause as a way to get rid of homeless people, homeless encampments in cities. And this is very controversial. So a group of about 450 Ontario lawyers and paralegals, including 5 from Sudbury, have signed an open letter to Premier Doug Ford urging him not to follow through with his proposed use of the notwithstanding clause in dealing with encampments, while homelessness advocates decry the potential human rights violations. The signatures are pointing to the potential implications of employing a law meant for only rare circumstances. As members of the Ontario legal community bound to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law, we urge your government not to take such action, reads the letter. The notwithstanding clause, Section 33 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, gives governments the power to override certain portions of the Charter for 5 years at a time, right? And so we see this happening across Ontario, and our own mayor has signed on for this. He wants there to be a suspension of human rights in this case to deal with our homelessness problem here in Sudbury, because there are human rights issues, right? And there's laws that are already made, but there is this clause in the Charter of Rights that can suspend human rights for a certain population, I guess, for a certain reason, for a certain amount of time, which is 5 years. So what could go wrong, right? What could go wrong when human rights are suspended for 5 years. So this, I guess we'll have to keep our fingers on the pulse of what's going on with this, how it will affect people, not only the homeless, but you could have views either way. So I'm not sure how the Facebook looks like it's still struggling. So YouTube, I'm not sure. It looks like we have a few people on YouTube here this morning. It looks like Jen's here. Good morning. I hope things aren't freezing up. Oh, the stream is freezing a lot on YouTube as well, or freezing a bit. I'm not sure if it's hackers, but we love to play and go out there and come back in. And this is why voices were removed from social platforms. If you were following in real time, it was clear as glass. Now an attempt to present a playback of the order of events to others, and over half the proof gas been removed. Bill C-11, Bill C-18, Bill C-63, all part of protecting the lives, so history can be written incorrectly. Yeah, I had a video. I'm not sure if I could call it up right now or not, because I have so many videos that I've shared with myself for the show. But basically, it was a few people back just recently talking about what they did during the pandemic, and how, basically they looked at history a little different. They looked at their own actions differently than what actually happened. And it's kind of crazy, because oh no, I didn't do that. I didn't do anything. But then we actually showed, okay, here you go. I found it. Interesting that I found it so quickly, but going to have to get the volume working right away, right? Which it won't. It takes a while. Look, I'm just hovering here, and then it takes a while for anything to happen. Okay, then it comes on. After 11 seconds, I'm able to turn the volume on. But the next video is going to come on right away if I don't stop it fast enough with volume. Thanks. Appreciate that. So weird. Anyways, here you go. This is a then and now. Enjoy. Oh, sorry. Got to get the volume again.
Now then, COVID is back in the news.
Are you hearing people are quite nervous about getting the vaccine?
One of the professors who worked on the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is a paediatrician who is one of the most intelligent, sensible and honest people I know. And I spoke to him. I was lucky enough to speak to him because I worked in a documentary that looked at the Oxford vaccine. And you know what? There is no conspiracy. There is no fake news.
The AstraZeneca COVID vaccine is being withdrawn worldwide after the pharmaceutical giant admitted it causes a rare and dangerous side effect.
Government had no capacity to enforce any of this. You must wear a mask. And people wore masks in New York. But if they said, I'm not wearing a mask, there was nothing I could do about it.
Masks have been mandatory since April, and a fine for not wearing one took effect this week.
It was really all voluntary. Wear a mask. It is the law, and the law is the law.
People who have got conspiracy, maybe anti-vax views, who believe now that they were deliberately misled over these vaccines. They've been developed quickly because we've sped up the process to make it more efficient. We've still had all the safety checks in place. That has not been compromised.
AstraZeneca admits its COVID vaccine can cause rare blood clots.
Based on all the information we had, there was not enough to say that it was down to the vaccine.
Dr. Marco Cavalieri, head of anti-infectives and vaccines for the EMA, told the Italian newspaper Il Messaggero, quote, "It is becoming more and more difficult to affirm that there isn't a cause and effect relationship between AstraZeneca vaccines and the very rare cases of blood clots associated with a low level of platelets."
You know, you talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves. No one has to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
No, they need to be shamed.
Yeah.
They need to be called out and shamed, brother. I am taking a regular dose of ivermectin.
Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin.
You're going to question the vaccine, but you want to take a horse dewormer.
Those clots happen for lots of other reasons, and they weren't happening at a higher rate than we would expect at that time.
Germany, France, Spain and Italy are all taking the precautionary measure of suspending use of the vaccine because of fears about possible side effects, including blood clots. The AstraZeneca vaccine has already been suspended in the Netherlands, Ireland, Iceland, Bulgaria, Denmark and Norway.
And it was extraordinary when you think about it, that society acted with that uniformity voluntarily. Wear a mask. It is the state law. It's not an option.
Yeah, so you see the hypocrisy in all of those people there, and they're just sticking to it. Do they know they're lying? Right? Like, maybe they just have to see this video. They didn't remember saying the things they said back in, before 2020 or 2021. They don't remember what they said. They don't remember what laws they initiated. They don't remember things, right? So maybe they just need to be sent this video to show what they did say back then and how ridiculous it looks when you're lying. I think all politicians should have, like, someone should be archiving every single thing someone says and putting it, okay, they said this time, and then later on when they switch their point of view or whatever, it needs to be, it needs to be put out there. Maybe you just need a Facebook page that only does that. It just takes lies, people saying one thing and doing another, or saying one thing and saying another. It's just incredible. So that means, did they know they were lying even to begin with? Because it kind of showed that in there. The guy's saying there's no evidence to show that this is defective, and right away, the same year he was saying that, there was countries knowing that it was defective, they eventually took that particular product off the market. And this person saying there's no evidence of that. So, yeah, and we're still freezing. And Bingo, thanks for joining us here on YouTube. And I guess you're also saying that YouTube is freezing as well as it's, freezing outside, and YouTube's freezing as well. So a little bit of humor this morning. Thanks, guys, for keeping up and keeping on. And I think I saw someone saying we're pretty resilient here, and we'll stick with that as long as there's an opportunity to be resilient. I think we will be resilient. So it is what it is, but how frustrating to watch something when it's freezing up like that. It's just incredible. I know, even things I really want to watch, and I'm like so interested in it when they do that to the feed and it's freezing. I can't watch the whole thing. I can't sit there and watch it. I say, well, maybe I'll go back and watch it again, but do I? Can I? Do I remember? It's good to just watch it in real time. So, unfortunately, we're freezing up. Now this great news, right? So Canadians are going to spend $801 more on food in 2025. But guess why? Just take a wild guess why we're going to be spending more money on food in 2025. Well, yes, you guessed it. It's climate. Climate is the reason we're going to be spending a 5% increase on food prices next year. Oh, also Trump. Trump is a reason too. So food prices in Canada are likely to increase by 3 to 5% next year, according to a newly released report. But wild cards like climate change and Donald Trump could have unforeseen impacts. Right? So I guess the food price was already going to be going up. But climate change and Donald Trump could make it even more interesting. Just like our weather. Here we have a snowplow that was stuck in someone's ditch, weren't able to get out of their own driveway because of the snow. That was the weirdest snowstorm I've ever seen in my life, by the way. Again, just driving through it, looking at the clouds, the Franken skies, just totally not natural at all. There was nothing natural about this storm and this weather lately at all. But we all know it's climate change, right? Climate change. So that's the only reason why we have food prices going up and weird weather. Just craziness. And I thought I had a video to go with this, and I do. And it was shared to me by Liette, and I was grateful that she did that. And here's basically, you hear a lot about climate and climate change, and you don't know who to listen to, but I like listening to experts about it because
what if
they're
everything
experts.
You've been told about the dangers of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere by mainstream media journalists and by politicians was actually just complete nonsense? Well, a new paper published by a York University scientist and Princeton University scientist actually shows that carbon dioxide is not responsible for raising global temperatures. It's the kind of thing you would want to learn more about, given that carbon dioxide in our atmosphere seems to be the source of all the climate hysteria coming from the Canadian government. It's the reason why we have to have a carbon tax. It's the reason why you won't be allowed to drive or buy a new gas-powered car in the future. Joining us now on the show is Dr. Jim Mason, a nuclear scientist with an extensive background in analyzing complex data, particularly in the context of climate change. Dr. Mason, you recently published in C2C Journal an article called "A Planet That Might Not Need Saving. Can CO2 Even Drive Global Temperatures?" First, just take us through the points that you're making here in this very interesting article.
Well, the article was actually based on two papers that I came across in the scientific literature. One in particular seems to be quite compelling to me. It's an experimental piece of work that was done in Poland by three researchers that actually measured the amount of radiant energy that was absorbed in a column of air as they controlled the level of carbon dioxide in that column. Using a source of energy that was very reflective of the long wavelength radiation type of thing that would come from the Earth's surface. And they found rather a remarkable thing. Rather than the amount of energy increasing indefinitely, as you will, as the concentration of carbon dioxide increased in the air column, it actually tapered off very quickly and started to approach asymptotically to a maximum, so that eventually you get to a point where even though you're increasing the level of carbon dioxide in the air column, it's not absorbing any more energy. And in fact, they've taken some measurements off their graph. They determined that the concentration at which 95% of the incident energy that was eventually going to be absorbed, that's 95% of this maximum, occurred at a concentration that was less than 1/10 of the current concentration in the atmosphere, which means really, since that time, additional carbon dioxide has really had very little impact on the climate. So I found that pretty interesting because it's kind of nice experimental physics. And so that's why I wrote the article.
So essentially, the idea that carbon dioxide is going to kill the planet, what we've been force-fed by the Canadian government and many of these NGOs, the United Nations, that's not exactly accurate, is it, after this?
Well, according to this experimental results, that would be the case. Yeah, that adding more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere is having essentially no effect on the amount of additional energy that's being absorbed into the atmosphere from the radiant energy coming off the Earth's surface. So it can't be having the impact on the climate that we've been led to believe it's having.
So if this is still being pushed on us, I guess the next question is this the result of scientists being wrong, or is there another motivation behind why they're pushing this ideology regarding carbon, being destructive for the planet?
Well, that would be pretty speculative, and kind of as a scientist, I prefer to deal with facts and evidence. And I think one of the things that people may not understand is that scientific disciplines often get captured by something that a philosopher of science called Thomas Kuhn referred to as a ruling paradigm. And it's basically a presupposition about the nature of things that scientists use as the framework for interpreting their data. And it just never gets questioned. Probably the classic example of that is the paradigm about the geocentric nature of the universe that was formulated by Aristotle and prevailed for like hundreds of years. Even in spite of all of the evidence that it didn't work, people still made the evidence fit in that ruling paradigm. And so I think possibly that's what's happened. For whatever reason, we, the scientific community, people in general, got fixated on this idea that carbon dioxide, particularly carbon dioxide from the burning of fossil fuels, because if you look at all of the UN documentation that surrounds the IPCC, that's a very fundamental premise right from the start, that climate change is caused by humans, and the cause of that is fossil fuel that is burned by humans. So we became fixated on that, and we, in effect, forced all of the evidence, all of the data, all of the observations to fit that particular premise and interpreted them in various and sundry ways to make sure that that happened. So why we got there, that's really another question.
Right. The next question I have for you is regarding the idea behind why we're being forced into EVs and why the government is mandating that, all vehicle sales will be electric vehicle sales in really a short period of time. This seems like a significant change being driven by science, which, as you've pointed out, and through this experiment, doesn't seem to be accurate. Why do you think that's happening?
Well, I think it's just a knock-on of this, we got to stop emitting carbon dioxide, and internal combustion engines emit carbon dioxide, therefore they must be stopped. And the only alternative at the moment really are these EVs, and they seem to be becoming less and less attractive to people. The EV market is kind of flattened now. I think we've got past the stage of all of the people who want to have one for virtue signaling or status seeking or whatever is past, and the rest of us just can't afford them. So why the government is forcing, I think, is just a natural extension of this view that carbon dioxide, we must stop putting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And if this Polish work is correct, then it's not actually going to make any difference. Now, an interesting thing about the mandate for EVs, I've just done an analysis on this, and it looks to me like the real effect of that between now and 2035 is going to be a collapse in the new car market. People are just not going to be able to afford to buy EVs, and then the number of total vehicles that can be sold is going to be driven by the number of EVs that are sold, and therefore the total number of vehicles will not keep up with what historically has been the evidence, and the new car market's just going to disappear.
How significant is this study in your field of study and in the world of climate science? Is this getting a lot of attention from people at that level? Has it made an impact?
Not that I've been able to see. Actually, I haven't been able to find much of anything. Now, the paper to which I referred was only published in March of this year, so that's kind of relatively new paper. There was another paper published in 2020 by a couple of physicists, one at York University and one at Princeton, that approached the problem from a different perspective. Actually, they sort of started from the details. They looked at the radiation absorption spectrum of carbon dioxide and indeed all of the other greenhouse gases, and looked at the spectrum of emission of long wavelength radiation, and kind of did a cross multiplication of those two and then added them up And they found much the same thing. They found that this forcing function that is used in climate change analysis for greenhouse gases was overstated, in their words, by a factor of 4, by an order of 4 orders of magnitude. Sorry, not a factor of 4, but 4 orders of magnitude.
And we'll have to leave that there. Reason being, we're out of time and we're freezing up. And I realize why. It's because I did a speed test while we were playing the video there. Download speeds were amazing, 80, but the upload speeds were only 8. And you need between 10 and 15 upload speeds for streaming a podcast like this, a live stream. So anyways, we're going to have to deal with this with the provider and make sure that the upload stream is as good as needs to be for what we're paying for. So it's not hackers as far as we know, unless it's happening on that end. But the upload speeds are too low. And that's why. Anyways, doing a speed test. Thanks everyone for sticking around. And maybe you got a chance to go back and watch the show on demand on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or at Sudbury.news. And unfortunately, it's all the time we have now. We're really behind on the stream. So comments are kind of lagging behind too. Thanks for being with us today. Sorry about the freezing up. We'll be back same time, same place, God willing, on the same platforms at the same time on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm. Stay tuned now for, I guess, Earshot Daily, but I'm not on the radio anyways, so we'll see you then. Ciao.